All right, folks, it's that time of the show where we bring in a special guest. And today we've got someone who's been shaping the culture for decades. Now, you know him as the CEO and co founder of allhiphop.com, one of the most influential voices in the game right now. Y'all show some love and give a big what's up, cousin, to Chuck Creekmur. Thank you so much for coming on the show with us.
Thank you for having
Yeah.
me.
Welcome, man. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
For sure. Listen, I gotta get out of the way. Sorry, Samaria. Allhiphop.com was a website that I visited every day for like a solid 5 or 6 year run, right? Like no nonsense. So I had one mention in my entire life in All Hip Hop when I was doing something, All Hip Hop mentioned me. And for me, that was like the ultimate sign of validation. It was like, oh, my name is living on allhiphop.com. And it's still up, by the way, because I Googled it last night. So I just want to say thank you for your contributions to my self-esteem as well as the culture, my brother.
No, you're welcome. That's what's up. What was the article? What was the write-up? What was said?
So I hosted 106 in Park for a minute, and I was a finalist to be the new host post Terrence and Roxy. And so y'all did a write-up about it. It was just like a moment for me. You dig what I'm saying? A moment.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Yeah. So let's talk about the culture for a second. Allhiphop.com came to life during a very important era. The blog era is what we called it. It was the transition from traditional media like The Source Vibe, Double XL, Word Up Magazine, and gave way to new voices that connected with the new type of audience for hip hop. We are now in another period of transition, the streamer era. What do you think the role of people like Kai Cenat and Aiden Ross will be for the next generation of hip hop? And most importantly, as an OG, a veteran, how do you feel about it?
Well, first of all, we technically predate the blog era, right? So we kind of laid down that foundation for the blog era. But as far as the new generation, the newer generation of streaming, I don't have a problem with it. It's not my lane per se, but I appreciate it because it brings a different zone for artists and a different level of engagement. And then sometimes, in some instances, it gives people information, and that's pretty cool as long as it's responsible and it's giving people, you know, the right information or at least the right perspective, which sometimes can be a little off. I think it is a safe space for artists because we're journalists over here, and so we
Yeah.
can get a little bit. The conversations are different, the information is different, but those guys to me are coming from more of a entertainment perspective, which is cool. There's no real issue with that, and they're making money, so that's cool too.
Yeah, that's interesting that you talk about the journalism. I wasn't even going to ask you this, but I feel compelled to. You do a lot of speaking out nationally about the upcoming election, about other pressing matters in our community right now. What has compelled you to do that?
I mean, that's just the cloth I'm cut from. I'm cut from a cloth where my, heroes and sheroes were the people that spoke out against injustice, that made sure that the people that had no voice could have a voice through you. Also, just basic fundamental equality and basic humanity is why I step up and why I speak out. Also, I think that I have a responsibility to younger people and paving a road forward for those people as well. So paying it forward is really important to me too. I think now we're in a scary period where people are scared to do it. In fact, I know a lot of the younger artists are getting paid to speak up in some instances, even simple messages like go out and vote. And they're turning those dollars down because they're just basically scared of backlash or, losing fans or things like that.
I wish Amber Rose was scared of backlash. So I'm gonna ask this question because I was literally having this conversation just yesterday with a really good friend of mine. Traditional media is dying, and it's dying because there is not a lot of money in it. People are now used to getting their information and their news for free. So what is the business model, not just today but going forward for all hip hop, to keep your brand profitable?
Well, first of all, we're profitable now, and I think that there are some
Keep. I
core.
said keep. I said keep. You know what I mean?
I'm
Just want to go
saying,
on record. I said keep.
look, I gotta let it be known we're profitable right now in 2024 and doing well, by the way. But understanding that things don't stay the same and things change, we're definitely rapidly moving into creating a more broad experience. I'm not using the word website. In fact, I don't even use the word allhiphop.com anymore. I just say all hip hop. And so I think we consider ourselves a legacy brand, but also a platform. And we are also a company that has created content for a very long time: audio, video, um, and obviously written words. So all of that stuff is easy work in terms of transitioning into TV, film, documentaries, licensing, and a whole bunch of other things. All Hip Hop TV is on the way, so we're going to be taking a lot of our footage, our interviews, and jumpstarting All Hip Hop TV with that content. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to continue on with cutting that up and turning it into documentaries or series. In fact, we
Yeah.
have a whole, as you already know, hip hop is like a crime blotter now. Like you have no shortage of stories to tell. So we're going to jump all the way in.
And I've been watching some of your interviews. Love them. You just sat down with Flau'jae Johnson last month, excuse me. Would you step out on a limb, Chuck, and say that she's one of the best athletes who also raps?
Yeah, I told Flau'jae to her face. I think she might be the GOAT right now already.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. You pandering. Don't do that.
Why am I pandering? Who's better than her rapping and
No,
playing
yo,
sports?
Shaq has. You mean like presently playing? Because Shaq got platinum albums. You got Damian Lillard. Like you can't
Wait,
stop
hold
the.
on. No. Oh, no. Shaq.
Samaria, you never heard "You Can't Stop the Rain," so you can't laugh at Shaq being a credible artist athlete. That's just I
Okay,
can
but
guarantee
Shaq
you
is
wouldn't
not
laugh.
a lyricist like Flau'jae. Like, I feel like she really takes this
Chuck?
seriously.
You trying to get us to say something bad about Shaq? Now, come on.
Yeah, you tripping. You don't. I don't think you have listened to Shaquille O'Neal's music. You wouldn't say that if you did.
Don't ask me about Flau'jae. Now you want me to say something about Shaq. Shaq is cool. Shaq is dope. Shaq's my dude. I like Shaq. I love Shaq. But at the same time, Flau'jae has been rapping for a long time. Matter of fact, probably rapping before she was playing ball. So her skill level is different. And I just think that I think she could be the GOAT already. Real talk. Now, did she rap with Biggie? No. Did she rap with Red and Meth? No. But she did rap with Lil Wayne, so she's got GOATs next to her too.
Which Lil Wayne? That's important. That's important. I hear you. I'm gonna go Dame. I think Dame has put out full bodies of work that Flau'jae just hasn't done yet. Maybe she's obviously a little preoccupied with figuring out the development of her career. But I'm going Dame. I'm going Dame for the moment.
Okay, so we know that you like MMA, and we just found out that Conor McGregor actually reached out and wanted to do a fight with Terrence Crawford. It was going to be a 2-fight deal, a crossover. He turned it down. Crawford turned it down. Would you have wanted to see a fight like this?
No, I definitely don't want to see Terrence Crawford doing MMA. No way. Now, if they're throwing leather, that's different. I'd love to see him whoop on McGregor all day, every day, 15 rounds, in fact. But no, I don't want to see him do MMA because that's easy work for him, But it's easy work for Crawford beating McGregor in the ring.
I was just going to say, would you like to see something like that in the future if it was like a crossover, they do an MMA fight and then they do a boxing match? No.
Yeah, I would love to see Jake Paul do it, for example. I want to see Jake Paul do MMA and boxing. And that would be fun because he likes to beat them up.
Yeah, I don't want to see no more of our heroes get destroyed. I don't
but-
know that we as a community can take seeing Terrence Crawford get his ass kicked in an octagon. But there has been some conversation about Terrence Crawford potentially fighting Canelo Alvarez. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Yeah, Crawford had trouble in his last fight. I think it's pretty clear he would have trouble with Canelo. I want Crawford to ride out. I don't want to see him get beat on. But if he did fight Canelo, I do think he'd have a dog's chance. He's got a lot of fight in him.
We know that Kendrick is doing the Super Bowl. Is there any chance that he does not perform They Not Like Us? And did you have any feelings one way or the other about him being the selection over Wayne?
No, I have no feelings. I think he should be the selection. This is his year. This is his moment. He didn't even drop an album yet. He definitely will perform Not Like Us. How that comes across is anyone's guess, but Not Like Us cannot not be performed. It has to rock.
That's a wild song to perform at the Super Bowl. I'm all for it, but a record making reference and implications that someone is, a pedo, I think might be a little abrasive and aggressive for the Super Bowl audience, and more importantly for sponsors.
They might just finesse it, they might just play the hook
The,
or something
the
like
hook,
that.
yeah, okay.
I don't want to see the word they're calling Drake on TV. Not during the Super Bowl.
Well, I do want to know your thoughts of the beef in its totality, since we just brought it up.
Yeah, I likened it to fighting, boxing. Styles make fights. When it first started, I thought Drake had a puncher's chance. But Kendrick's a different type of animal. So I think he just really was, on demon time, basically. You know what I mean? Like, and we all know that's the type of guy he is. But honestly, when he said after Big Three, it's just Big Me, it should have been like, yo, just let let's pretend that didn't happen and keep it
Come
moving.
on.
He should have. That was
No
enough.
way.
That was enough for them to know where he was going with it. And that's why J. Cole dropped out. He didn't want that type of smoke. It's too much. And Drake, God bless him, he tried. God bless him, he tried. Push-ups was dope, but it was like too basic when it came down to it. You had to have that was a good jab, like the soft jab when you're setting up the right of
The
the left.
haymaker.
Yeah, the haymaker. It was a nice soft jab, bomb, 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 and then the haymaker never came.
So there are a lot of people out there who feel like Drake's music now, present day, even some of the new records he's been dropping, they no longer hear Drake the same way because of how Kendrick embarrassed him in their battle. Do you feel like going forward, Drake's public image and how we receive his music will change?
Basically, it's going to be really hard to hear Drake the same way you did before the beef. You're calling someone a sexual predator, basically. It's hard to look at him the same way. There's a lot of smoke that goes with that too. It's not like it just came out of nowhere. There's some things that are there that weren't really properly addressed to me. Secondly, I don't think the records he's dropped have been particularly good, to be honest with you. I'm not the biggest Drake fan, but I do like him when he raps. I
Yeah.
just think that he's made some missteps. I think getting with Cole was the best thing that could have ever happened to Drake recently. Um, that said, I think this is a bigger issue than just rap. It's a culture war. It's some would say a spiritual war, and I think that we have addressed in this battle much broader issues than two guys that don't like each other. And once you peel back the layers and then you start seeing some of the footage and things, it becomes really hard to just look at him like a rapper or just someone who's entertaining. I think that it's just like it's like knowing your favorite rapper beats women. Are you gonna really look at him the same way, or your favorite R&B singer abuses women and he's singing about love? Are you really gonna be able to uh, jam or rock out or whatever, play that music? I think we're in a moment in time now where transparency in artists is at an all time high, and what we see is what we get, and we're gonna address them with our streams.
Man, that's interesting because
Yeah.
I'm somebody who can separate the art from the artist.
Hmm.
And there's certain records, like, am I never going to listen to Puff again? Unlikely. Like, do I still on occasion listen to R. Kelly? Most definitely. Also, I think a lot of their victims, the restitution is coming from this music continuing to be played. So it's like, yeah, we can cut them off and act as if they never existed. But the fact of the matter is they do need to still be generating some sort of revenue so that their victims can be adequately compensated. So it's kind of a catch-22 sometimes, man.
I just think differently about it. I don't listen to a lot of artists based on who they are. I mean, some artists are Trump supporters. I don't rock with that, so I don't listen to their music anymore. Straight like
Okay,
that.
but So then, but then on the flip side, right? I'm sure there are artists that you listen to who talk about victimizing men, right? So whether it's whatever artist you wanna mention, whether it's 50,
Well,
whether it's Jada, Beanie, whoever it is.
the difference is talking about it versus actually doing it. This is art, so we do give people leeway. But if you're talking about, even if you're rapping about things that you find deplorable, doing it and actually rapping about it are two very different things.
Do you feel like there is a difference in rap music specifically, right? When an artist such as DMX, who's known to rob people, King Von, who I loved, who at this point, and we already know he is a real life murderer, right? God bless the dead and both of those gentlemen. But you don't have any feelings or sentiments about the crimes that they committed against men that wouldn't allow you to want to listen to their music?
First of all, we have some gentlemen who are accused of specific crimes against women. I think
Sure.
those are specific and very deplorable. Like, you can't compare that to robbing someone. Like, I know DMX did things, and he was a very complicated individual. Same with Black Rob, and quite frankly, same with King Vaughn. So I think that we have to just address those individuals as such. And I don't think all crimes are created equal. I think that if you rob someone, you shouldn't get the death penalty. I just choose not to listen to people who don't that I can't rock with. It's just simple as that.
I understand we all have our own individual moral compasses, right? And I'm not trying to act as if the crimes that certain individuals are being accused of right now are not deplorable. I'm not fixated on them. People who commit certain crimes should be held accountable to the utmost. Whatever that penalty looks like, I'm all for that, right? But I do want to just talk about the victimization of men, right? And how society views that, and whether or not we take it seriously, right? There are people who have been robbed, right? Victimized by men, right? And they can no longer walk down the street with the same level of comfortability, right? I mentioned King Von, who is a murderer for real, and you kind of dismiss the idea that he took life as somewhat of a that's a different level of crime. It's like, do we not value men's lives in the same way that we, black men especially, lives the same way in which we do other communities?
Of course, come on, bro. I speak to young kids. I speak to people in Wilmington, which was once known as the murder capital per capita in America. That's where I'm from. So, no, of course, man, we have to value all lives equally. Um, no pun intended.
Right.
But black men have to do the homework. They have to do the self work too. And we have to realize that on our own accord. I see people always want to, direct smoke towards another black man, but have no words to say for, say, a white man or someone else in power. So you can look my history up, brother. I used to write about this and stand 10 toes down on every single word. I don't write as much because no one's reading as much, but
Yeah.
but I do plan to. And the other thing is this, we don't know how to talk to each other. There's certain people who might have these concerns, and then they'll tell you to shut up, then we can't, then we're not talking anymore.
Yeah.
So I agree with what you're saying, but I also think that black men have to have mutual respect for each other in the streets. That's why I speak to every single black person I see, black men, black women, and even kids. I'll say hi like this, hello, you know what I mean? Because I think we have
Yeah.
to show love to each other far more. And if it was up to me, black hip hop would be conscious, and it would be still talking that talk. And seeing black men now having all this aggression towards each other, but no aggression to the forces of evil or police brutality,
Oppressors.
oppressors in general. It shows me that a lot of y'all really cowards.
Well, so and that to me, and we'll close it shortly, but that to me is the biggest reflection of the fact that many of us are walking around in a state of fear. The way in which we approach each other is really, really fear-based. It's unfortunate. It's extremely unhealthy. But I think that fear is rooted in not really being able to talk about being scared, to talk about being feared, to talk about when we've been victimized, whether it's from another man or from a woman. I talk to so many of my homies. I'm from Irvington, New Jersey, right next to Newark, New Jersey. It is what it is. I come from an environment that is very challenging for a lot of people to make it up out of, right? I have so many friends, man, who were sexually abused as children, right? Who never felt comfortable being able to articulate that even to their closest friends, to their parents, to their loved ones. And so there feels like there's a culture around black men especially that we cannot talk about when we've been harmed. And so that hurt manifests itself in a multitude of other ways, and it comes out in form of aggression as we communicate and articulate conversations with other black men. And it's unfortunate. So the conversation wasn't about you and who you are. Just I wanted to have the broader conversation. That's all.
No, and I agree 100%. You know, there was a conversation around R. Kelly at one point, and we were talking about women, and I said, well, what about Africa Bambaataa? He's a hip hop legend and a pioneer, but he also, because someone said it doesn't happen to men or something, boys, whatever. And I brought him up as an example of someone who has been repeatedly accused and has not been arrested or, properly held accountable. Again, properly addressed culturally. And so I'm with that. I think those walls are crumbling down slowly but surely. But I think that we have to protect our young boys as well.
Got you. Thank you for engaging in that conversation, man. I think it's an important one, and hopefully going forward we continue to have more of them. Just to kind of break down the stigma of what it means to be a black man and truly expressing how we feel in totality. So I appreciate you for having
and
the discourse.
We should talk offline. I mean,
I'm with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Samaria, sorry, I took it. We had to have our little Men's Health magazine moment. You know what I mean? It's important sometimes.
Yeah, Chuck, thank you so much again for joining us, dropping those serious gems. Be sure to check out allhiphop.com and just All Hip Hop for the latest news, interviews, and exclusives straight from the source. And let us know down in the comments who you would like to see on the Fumble next week.
Yeah. We want to see All Hip Hop TV. I'm looking forward to the documentaries. We need 30 for 30s in hip hop. And I'm sure you got decades worth of content and footage to put out there. So we're looking forward to that, my brother.
Yes. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you both. And I appreciate the platform. And stay tuned. And I'll be tuning in too.
For sure.